Hard to believe that I have been calling Prescott High School football games on KYCA for 28 years now. And in all that time, I have never, ever seen a first quarter like the one we had in last night's season opener versus La Jolla. In fact, I don't think I could have imagined a first quarter like the one we had last night. Heck, I write science fiction novels. And, I have written books about stone giants and fire-breathing dragons and U.S. Marine Corps attack helicopters battling each other in Norway. I also wrote a book about the Red Baron fighting the Mothman. I wrote a book about modern-day American and North Korean armored regiments traveling back in time to the Korean War. And if I wrote a book where the score of a high school football team after the first quarter of play was 42-0, I would have said, nah, this is too unbelievable. But that's what happened last night. The Badgers went on the mother of all offensive rampages and blew out the scoreboard in the first quarter, ending it up 42-0. And then they tacked on some more touchdowns throughout the night to the point we actually had a running clock in the second quarter. That's something else I've never seen before. And when it was all said and done, Prescott got the win 56-7 over the Fighting Lobos. And now I'm going to turn to one of my guests today, Travis Stedman, Prescott boys basketball coach. Now, Travis, you were in the press box last night doing, whatever work you do so you can get into Prescott football games for free. How stupefied were you by what you saw in that first quarter from the Badgers?
First off, John, I'm really unhappy that you just blew up my spot there for a second. I work really hard up there for my free admission to the football game, so especially when the weather gets really cold and we have climate control. No, it was insane. Like, I think the first four possessions started either at the 20 for La Jolla or behind the 20, and they never got past the 20 for the first four possessions. The next thing you know, you look up at the scoreboard, it's 28-0. And, I mean, it was funny, credit to the defense. Going into the season, I was concerned about the defensive end. I know we have all these playmakers on the offensive side, Uriah, Joe, and Johan, and those guys. But on the defensive side, they're going to be a little younger, maybe a little faster. I was curious how that was going to work, but it's like Gunnar Para and those guys just keeping them from moving forward down the field. And that first quarter seemed like it took about 3 weeks to get through.
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to turn to my other guest today, and that's Eric Fundalevich, the Assistant Athletic Director for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Eric, you were actually at Embry-Riddle last night. You guys had a couple of soccer games over there, and I think your son Coley was texting you the scores from, just that first quarter. I think before we went on the air, you told me you were looking at that going, he must mean the first half, not the first quarter.
Yeah, I was stunned. I texted both he and my wife, and I was like, so how's the game going? And they were like, it's brutal. And I'm like, well, what's going on? They're like, 42-0 at the end of the first quarter. I says, half, right? And they were like, no, end of the first quarter. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And my wife was like, my eyes are bleeding for La Jolla right now. Like, I don't even know where else to go with this one. I feel so bad for this team. And yeah, it's my son said, he was like, we were clicking. The defense looked really good. He goes, he said it was fun for us. And then he goes, but then it really got terrible though for the guys doing the push-ups. He says, we're holding these boards up here. He says, I got Hepperly up here trying to do, he's like, he got to 50 and it was just like, wait, you got 49, whatever it was. He was like, I got to do how many push-ups? And like, hey, well, you know what? Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. We're going to have a lot of kids that can do a lot of push-ups this year.
But if you want more craziness to last night's game, now those of you who followed it on KYCA know that we were just a wee bit late going on the air with the game, and not our fault because La Jolla, I don't know who did their travel schedule, but apparently someone went, all right, let's see. We're in Avondale, which is the southern part of the valley. We got to go to Prescott. So we got to go up I-17 where there's all that construction going on between Anthem and Sunset Point. And it's also the start of the Labor Day weekend. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. I think if we leave around 4:20, we should be fine. Well, it turned out they weren't fine, and kickoff was more like 7:30. And I think La Jolla only warmed up for like about 5 minutes before it was decided, okay, let's play. So Travis, I'm sure that everyone was kind of scrambling a little bit last night, trying to make sure this game got off at least at a reasonable time.
Well, Hall of Fame night, because that's what was happening last night too, is always kind of a scramble because you're so concerned that you're going to be able to get dinner done, the inductions happening, and get everybody over the field, including the admin, before kickoff, or at least before the national anthem. And they were scrambling to get over there, and then they sprinted over only to see that, oh, cool, we got a 45-minute wait before something happens. And yeah, La Jolla just kind of showed up at about 7:15 and did some plyometrics, and next thing you know, the kickoff's happening. So, I don't envy whoever did the travel plans on Monday, because I'm sure there'll be a conversation that's had. But at least they got the game off.
Yeah, that's true. But, Eric, I guess the moral of this story is make sure you give yourself plenty of time to reach your destination before a game.
More than enough time. I mean, honestly, I've learned that over the years. I mean, just being a part of how many countless trips, whether it's recruiting or games or whatever, but the games are always the big one. I mean, being in LA at Northridge for the 1 year and coaching out there, you kind of learned, well, you know what, it might be 12 miles down the road to get to that school, but you better give yourself at least 2.5 hours to be able to get down there. So, you know, got to make those plans. You know, I don't envy a lot of people, and you know, coming up this hill, you really have to tack on another hour and a half if you're planning on getting here on time, because that is a brutal trip,
especially by bus.
By bus, yes. We've had plenty of interesting and fun bus trips. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Well, along with all that, you know, the Badgers did have a lot of great performances last night. Tenacious T, Uriah Tenet, 2 long touchdown throws and a touchdown run. Adam Lloyd had 2 TD runs. Isaac Brazino had a touchdown run. Had touchdown catches by Johan Gunderman, who was also perfect on his PATs last night, by the way. Josiah Peoples with a catch, and also Peoples with a 60-yard punt return for a touchdown. And Travis, I still don't know how Joe Flya got that one, since it looked like at first he wasn't even going to pick up the punt. Then when he did it, he had to go around about 3 guys to get to the end zone.
If you were going to write a book about Josiah, I think the title of that book would be, "Did he just do that?" Wow, that was incredible. And that's kind of how he does stuff. And you're like, what is he doing? What is he doing? Oh, my gosh, that was incredible. Like, good job, Joe. And he's just so athletic, and he's so intelligent, and he never does anything without a plan. You never know what the plan is, but he's got it figured out, and it always seems to work out, and he's so fun to watch.
Oh, tell me about it. That was fun. Also, some great defense last night. You had Gunnar Parra and Christian Cable. They had sacks. Cooper Kassoon with 2 fumble recoveries, which I think came in about a 1 or 2 minute span. Brody Hanna had a great pick 6. Also last night was along with being opening night, it was also Hall of Fame night, just like Travis said, at Prescott High School. So great banquet put on by the Hall of Fame committee. I got to see a bunch of people I haven't seen in years, so that was nice reconnecting with them. Bunch of new Badger Hall of Famers. We have Marcy McGlynn, who was a former gymnast. Now, yes, Prescott High School actually did have a gymnastics team at one time. Rafael Temple, great volleyball player, who was also great at tennis and swimming over there. Her brother, Grant, also a new Hall of Famer and a terrific swimmer. Well, he couldn't make the Hall of Fame banquet because he's flying tankers for the Air Force out of Okinawa right now. Ryan Green, probably one of the most upbeat and enthusiastic person you will ever meet, along with being a great football player and baseball player. You had 3-time state wrestling champion Daniel Hernandez. The 2006 football team got in there. They won the region, also made it to the Elite 8 of state. And in the legacy category, let's see, we had, now these are people who've made contributions to Prescott sports overall. We had 3 former football coaches go in: Lou Benetone, Bill Gahn, and Bill White. Former cheer coach Bertie Farah, former cross country and track coach Ray Worley, who of course the Ray Worley meet, the annual Ray Worley meet, is named after. Bill Shepard, and of course that's who Bill Shepard Field is named after. And longtime baseball coach Les Fenderson. Travis, that is certainly some very deserving people going in the Hall of Fame. And like I said, really nice banquet that they put on last night.
I mean, I tell you, that list of legacies, you can't tell the story of Prescott without any of those folks. I mean, Bertie Farah, the amount of work and effort. I think she said last night she'd been part of the school for over 50 years, like including graduating from Prescott High. I mean, it's just incredible. Bill White was one of the first people I ever met when I started at Prescott. In fact, he's the one that gave me my job, which is a great story for another day. But, I mean, it's Lou Benetone. Like, you can't go Bill Gahn. You can't go down the list without telling. You can't tell a Prescott story without at least one of those folks being part of it. It's incredible.
Yeah. Hey, before we go to break, folks, just quickly run down some of the other football action from last night. Bradshaw Mountain, well, they took a long trip over to Snowflake. Unfortunately, didn't work out for the Bears. They lost to the Lobos 47-27. So Prescott and Bradshaw Mountain opened their seasons against teams called the Lobos. Anyway, Mike Sanford had a touchdown pass and a touchdown run. Sean Hughes, a 95-yard kick return for a touchdown for Bradshaw. Chino Valley, they had their home opener last night. They pounced, trounced, and denounced Kingman Academy, who are not called the Lobos. They're called the Tigers, by the way. Final score in that one, 56-0. Cougars with more than 500 yards of offense. The Tigers, less than 50 yards of offense. Ouch. Levi Atkins had 3 touchdown runs. Ben Seibel, 4 touchdown passes. All right, break time here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. We come back. I'll be talking more with Prescott boys basketball coach Travis Stedman, Amber Riddle assistant athletic director Eric Fundalevich about who knows what. We'll find some topics and we'll make it interesting. We'll be back after this. Oh, yeah, folks. Some new bumper music in there by Warlock. All We Are, of course, fronted by the metal queen herself, Doro, who actually celebrated her 60th birthday a couple weeks ago.
Did you say Dora? I was waiting for that one. It was either going to be Taylor Swift or Dora. I couldn't remember which you were going to go with.
How many times have I told you this? Not Dora. Dora. Oh!
The guitarist Boots? Like,
Exactly. Swiper, no swiping.
and is it War Space Lock or
Just warlock.
Oh, okay.
Like,
One word.
Like male witch,
Oh.
no warlock.
No comma? Like
No comma, just warlock.
Headlined with Dora.
With Dora. And
Oh,
And
Doro!
boots. And boots. Exactly.
Well, I mean, I
my
know-
daughter used to love that show. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
wanted you to know that I got used to that theme song.
Mhm. Oh yeah, with the map and stuff. Yeah. Always finding things. Like they did a really good job.
They did.
Finding the treasure.
John finds treasures all the time, though, too.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
It's appropriate.
Yeah.
Explain to me again why I invited these two on the show.
Hey, I forewarned you, John. I
Yeah.
forewarned you.
Yeah.
We helped you out with that one, but
I'm just disappointed that Jason didn't give us a 3-hour window here. I mean, where is he? Can we talk about this?
can we have this discussion? Where'd you run off to?
Well, you know, Dr. Hancock's not going to be in today. We could have taken up his airtime.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Yeah, see?
Oh,
Jeez, I
brother.
thought you had this figured out.
Yeah. Well, since I got you guys here, I want to know something here. Now, there's been kind of a big story going on in the soccer world this week. Now, have you guys seen the footage from the recent or last week's Rutgers UMass women's soccer game?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. For those of you not aware, last week Rutgers and UMass are playing a game, and at one point, one of the players from Rutgers, Gia Gurman, she did like a sliding tackle on Ashley Lamont from UMass. So they both get up, and apparently Lamont goes to pick up the ball, which is right around Gurman's foot, and somehow I guess Gurman took an exception to it, and Gia Gurman, she did this takedown on Ashley Lamont. I mean, it was reminiscent of Trish Stratus from WWE back in the day. Not only takes her down the ground, but then just starts wailing on Lamont. And, well, as a result, not only did Gurman get red carded, no surprise. I think Lamont also picked up a red too. She was also suspended for 3 games. And here is the kicker. No pun intended. Here is the kicker with Gia Gurman. Guess what her hometown is?
Your hometown.
Gurman is a native of Hamilton Township, New Jersey.
So how proud are you?
Well, not only that, she is also a graduate of my alma mater, Nottingham High School.
Hey.
What do they teach there?
Yeah, right.
Fights in Dora?
Yeah, right?
I mean, jeez,
Well-
John.
Well, it is New Jersey. I mean, it is called the attitude capital of the world.
That's true. That's true.
Well, in fact, I actually went through her bio, and boy, oh boy, she had a great career at Nottingham. Three-time All Colonial Valley Conference selection, 3-time All State selection, 3-time Colonial Valley Conference Player of the Year. Had 36 goals in a season. In fact, holds the record at Nottingham High School, 6 goals in a single game. And this is what she's getting headlines for.
And 3 takedowns in a UFC championship.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it
heck yeah.
sounds like.
And a Trish Stratus call out.
Well, she does have blonde hair. In fact, I saw kind of the video. I think after she got red carded, she's kind of walking off the field, just kind of like redoing her hair and everything. I'll tell you what. After she's done at Rutgers, she might look into WWE. She might have a pretty good career there.
I'm
in the
seeing some
women's
NIL money right
Yeah,
there.
me
Right?
too.
They're smart.
Oh.
They need to get on that one right
That's
now.
right. Get the
Oh, heck yeah.
an
Heck yeah.
insurance company involved or something.
So yeah, there's Gia Gurman making all of us North Stars proud. That, by the way, that was the name of my high school.
How did they
Nottingham.
come? I mean, North Star. Like, can you see the North Star from
Okay,
Jersey?
You can't see any stars in
No.
Jersey.
Well, yeah, you're right
Except
about
Mike
that.
Trout. Except
Yeah,
Mike Trout.
except
We'll give him
Mike
Trout.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. We have 3 public high schools in Hamilton, and their official designations are directions. Like we have Hamilton High School West, Hamilton High School East, which AKA is called Steinert. Now, my former high school was Hamilton High School North. So they decided, well, let's do something with North, and let's just make them the Nottingham North Stars.
Not the Kings or the Knights or
We
the
actually were called the
Forests?
Knights. We were called the Knights when we were a middle school, and I was there in 6th grade when they were a middle school. Then they said, oh, we're going to make it a high school, and John, you and all the other 6th graders, you get shipped over to the Gulag at Grice Middle School.
That's a lot of confusion right there. So are you a Knight? Are you a North Star? Are you a Lobo? Are you a what do we got going on here?
I'm not a Lobo. I never went to
I
a
don't
school
know. We
named
got
Lobo.
being thrown around all over the place. I just thought maybe you were the North Hamilton North Star Lobos.
I'm a North Star. I was at
Okay.
Nottingham High School for 4 years. I was only at Nottingham for 1 year when it was a middle school, and then got kicked over to probably the worst middle school on the planet, Grice Middle School.
Oh, I've heard bad things. about
Yeah, I was
Rice.
gonna say I've heard a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough right there.
I hated every second of it, and my parents, even like years after I graduated, my parents were like, you know what, John? I don't know how you got through Grice Middle School without us killing you because, you were just a little, when you were there.
John, I feel like we need a couch for you to lay down on right now. I'm a
I
little worried
understand
what
that
we got going
Rice
on.
is taking some stray bullets here right now, but you have no idea, folks out there. Like, this explains so much.
I
Like,
was gonna say,
John made it through Grice Middle School. Like, it's
there-
incredible.
There it is.
And I don't know, maybe Gia Gurman made it through Grice Middle School, and that's
Oh,
why she
that's
reacted
making
like
sense.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get her on the phone.
Now we're connecting the
yeah.
dots.
That's
There
right.
we go.
I'm
There we
curious
go.
So am I. Well, now here's what I'm curious of. Since we're talking about this brawl by my former Nottingham alum, Gia Gurman. Okay, Travis, I'm going to ask you this. In your coaching career, have you ever been on the floor when some big old brawl broke out during one of your games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, give us some details. That's why I'm asking.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's one that I was on the field for as a player or one that I was coaching. I'm going to keep me out of the woods here. And
Good call. Good call.
Yep. I'm going to go here. No, I got caught up. I'm not going to say where we were at or what it was, but while I was coaching, I had a player that there was a loose ball on the floor and right in front of our bench, and our player and their player both went for it. And so, which is very similar to the situation that happened in the soccer game, except for our player, and yes, it was our player, decided that the best course of action was to use his foot and that foot to strike the lower abdomen area of the opposing player, which then ensued chaos because obviously that player wasn't very happy about that decision once he came to in that after the action, and it became we gotta separate this situation and get everybody out, but it was chaos. It was really, really bad. It took probably 10 minutes to get everything situated. So yeah, it was bad.
Well, Eric, I want to ask you the same question, but we got to go to a break soon here, so I'll catch you on the other side of the break. But before we go to break, folks, it's our first 3 stars of the week segment for the 2024-2025 season. Yeah. All right, so let's see who shined over the past 7 days. So starting with the ladies, our number 3 star is Sophia Fattrell of the Yavapai College soccer team. She notched 4 goals in the Lady Riders' wins over the Arizona Christian JV and Gillette College at last weekend's Rough Riders Showcase. The number 2 star is Katie Roll of the Embry-Riddle volleyball team. She posted 34 assists, 9 kills, and 7 digs in Lady Eagles' 3-1 triumph over Loyola New Orleans last Friday. Then on Monday, Roll was named the GSAC Setter of the Week. And our number 1 star of the week is Annabelle Ruckel of the Embry-Riddle women's soccer team. She had 2 saves and pitched a 1-0 shutout against number 3 ranked Spring Arbor last Saturday. And on Monday, Ruckel was named the GSAC Defender of the Week. Now for the guys, our number 3 star is Jeremiah Duplechain of the Chino Valley football team. He had a touchdown catch and a sack in the Cougars' 47-20 loss to Page last Friday. The number 2 star is Ben Seibel of the Chino Valley football team. He threw 2 touchdown passes in the Cougars' 47-20 loss to Page last Friday. And our number 1 star of the week is Jonathan So of the Prescott boys golf team. He finished 2nd at the Arizona High School Fall Preview last Saturday. Congratulations to all our 3 stars of the week. Break time here in the Tri-City Sports Roundup. We'll be back with more right after this. All right, folks, John Rust with you here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup this morning. In the studio with me today, I have Prescott boys basketball coach Travis Stedman and Embry-Riddle assistant athletic director Eric Fundalevich. And before the break, we were talking about brawls. Of course, setting that up was the recent brouhaha between Rutgers and UMass in women's soccer, where my fellow Nottingham alumni, Gia Gurman, decided to go all MMA and take down a UMass player and just start. Well, you know what would have been great? And if I had the editing skills, I'd love to do this. Get the hold of that video, and when the fight starts, insert the fight music from Star Trek, the original series. You know, dun 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 dun, bum 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 bum, dun 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 dun, bum 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 bum. If I had the editing skills, I would love to do that.
I would love to see you do
Me
that,
too.
John.
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of brawls, Travis, I already asked you about one of your more memorable brawls that you've seen in your coaching career. Eric, what about you? I think you said you had one from the very first year of Embry-Riddle men's basketball.
Yeah. Thankfully, we came out on the good end of that, and not meaning that we won the fight, but I guess we did in a way. We're up in Vegas playing St. Francis out of Illinois, and we're about second. It was actually the first half. We were winning that game. It was hard to come by wins that year, and so we're up in that game. They were ranked top 10 in the country. And seen Woods attacking the basket, going for a layup. Kid slides underneath him to take the charge. He bowls him over. And so the official calls a charge. Kid jumps up and gets right into Scene's face, and he's yelling at him. And Scene is so frustrated that he grabs the kid's face and he pushes him back down to the ground. The second the kid went back down to the ground, their players just start pushing, shoving. They're going nuts. And as they start going nuts, our boys stand up on the bench. Credit to Coach Tessman, Neil Tessman. He's holding them all back. Like, just sit down. It's okay. But as I'm looking at Neil holding them back, I turn and look the other way, and a swarm of brown jerseys from St. Francis come running on the floor. They start going after our guys. I've got Joe Jewell, big Joe Jewell, out on the floor. He's pulling guys off. Our guys aren't fighting because our guys, it's first year in college, are like, what is happening right now? We're dealing with these 28-year-old guys because St. Francis has always got all the guys that transferred back in. And so he's pulling guys off. It gets to a point where I've got one of my players behind the bench. He's like running back towards the locker room because three of the St. Francis players are chasing him behind our bench. So our kids running back. I mean, it was absolute mayhem. We ended up, Logan Skirtle stepped to the line to shoot 14 free throws. Shot 14 free throws, which that doesn't happen. But he shot 14 free throws, made them all. So we were like, okay, this is unbelievable. So now we have, I think it was like a 17-point lead. And then the officials, who were high school officials from Vegas doing collegiate basketball, decided to go up into the stands so that they could look at a video from one of the parents that was filming the game to see who they were going to throw out of the game. So they threw out one of our guys, Scene, for pushing him, which was rightfully so, and then they ejected the entire other team, except the other team had some walk-ons that were sitting in the front row of the bleachers behind, so the coach tried to pull the walk-ons, who weren't even on the roster, onto the bench so we can try and finish the game. So at that point, they finally were mid-half, first half, and the officials turned around, and they looked at us, and they're like, game over, turned around, walked off into the corner. We're like, is this going to be our first official win? That was like our first shot. We're like, yes, we just won this one. Yes. Unfortunately, it did not go down as a win. We just said, you know what? That's not how we want the first one. But needless to say, Scene had his 2-game suspension, rightfully so. I mean, he pushed him down. It wasn't anything. Again, we came out on top. Logan went 14-14 from the free throw line. It may have been more than that. I'm not sure. We'd have to ask Vince Skirtle for those numbers. He's got all the stats for that stuff. So, so it was interesting. And all the while, when all of this mayhem is going on, coaches are doing a fantastic job. And I hate to put Doug on the spot, but the funniest thing out of the whole thing was Doug and pulling people off and everything, gets knocked over, and I turn over and I look, and at this point, guys are on top of him, and Doug looks like he's in the fetal position on the ground, just trying not to get blasted by all of these kids that are running in circles around him. I was just like, that was the one thing I remember out of the whole thing, like, vividly remember, is Doug on the ground in field. I'm like, dude, this is just, we're going to talk about this forever, so just get used to it.
Shout out Doug Bilefus.
Exactly. Doug Bilefus, my man, exactly, holding down the fort.
Well, earlier in the show, we were talking about La Jolla, and why last night's game started late, because La Jolla started their journey from Avondale late and got stuck in traffic up the I-17, which I guess is no surprise since it was the start of Labor Day weekend, which brings me to this little bit of curiosity. Of course, you guys have been coaching for quite a while now. So, Travis, what's probably one of your like, worst travel stories ever?
I have a couple. Actually, I have a lot, but I have a couple that could fit into this time frame that we have. So I think it was our third year. Adam Neely and I and Coach Swan, Robert Swan, finally got to the point where we made a playoff game. It was a long, grueling couple years, and doing some turnover and stuff. And we finally made a playoff game, and we had a really good team that year. Cameron Gilbert and Jaron Hoover and some of those other guys. But our first game was at Poston Butte, which we didn't know where Poston Butte was at the time. I mean, we're like, oh, okay, it's where? In Florence? Where's Florence? And so we got on the bus, and we started driving, and it was kind of before Google had the Maps program. And so our bus driver, who was, pushing 110, I think, not miles per hour, but years of age, had one of those Garmin like mobile devices that would help you with the maps or whatever. And so he kept telling us, no, we're going to go this way. We got to take surface streets. Well, the game started at 7, like every other basketball game starts. And we're looking at the clock, and we left, unlike La Jolla, we gave ourselves plenty of buffer time. We left in perfect amount of time, and he decided to take, I think we went through Mexico at one point. I thought I saw the Welcome to New Mexico and Texas sign. And next thing you know, we're pulling into a convenience store because the bus driver had to use the restroom. We're like, the game starts in like 40 minutes. Like, can we just keep going? We don't know how far we are now because we're in the middle of Mesa somewhere. And he's like, I got to use the restroom. Well, the bus is big. The convenience store parking lot is not big. Mm-hmm. And he goes in, comes back out, gets back in the bus, and immediately backs into somebody. And so that obviously creates a situation where they're arguing, can't find the insurance. Like, it's a huge, huge mess. And so then we finally get that all buttoned up, and we roll out, and he goes the wrong way for another 15 minutes the wrong direction. And we're like, dude, you went back the wrong way. Like, this is where we were at. You need to turn back around. Well, long story, not nearly as long. We roll up into Poston Butte for our first playoff game in, I think at the time, like 17 years or something like that. 20 minutes after tip time.
Oh, my gosh.
And so, obviously, their coach was very awesome, and their AD and their admin were great. They gave us ample time and whatever, but it was just one of those like kickoffs to this is probably not going to end well for us tonight.
And Eric, as far as bad travel story, you shared one with me. I think it was both the men's and women's team from Embry-Riddle going on a trip to California. I think up the Pacific Union.
Yeah, I was going to say beyond the typical 2-hour driving around LA and trying to find gyms there, or plane tickets being canceled and half of the team being pushed to a flight 9 hours later, the other half sitting around. You get all kinds of different stories when it comes to travel, but this one actually, and Travis was part of this one as well, just going up to Pacific Union. It's already a gnarly hill going up to get to the covered wagon up there. Mm-hmm. And so the bus driver took a wrong turn, or he took the first turn instead of the second one, and we're traveling up this hill, and you're feeling the trees scraping the side of the bus, and you're going, this is the wrong road. I don't know what we're doing. And we get to the top of the hill, and he just stops, and he's looking, and he's like, well, it says the college campus is right here. And we're like, yeah, it's right there, but there's a huge fence and gate in front of you, and it's not coming down. So we have to turn around and go back. And so as he's saying, well, I need help, Travis and I and Doug, we get out of the bus, and we're looking around, and we're like, well, it's like a 94-point turn in a bus trying to get this thing back down the hill. So as we're doing that, our women's coach, God bless her, Becky, was just like, we got to get to this. She's yelling at the bus driver. The three of us are outside trying to direct him. It's raining, mind you, too. So up in the hills, so it's muddy. It was absolutely hideous. Now, for us on the men's side, it's it's never that big of an issue because we still have to wait for the women to play. So we were kind of like, all right, we'll get there. But I understand, you get a little frustrated and you got to get down the hill. So now we start feeling the pressure of trying to get them there, get them on time. And, of course, our guys are in the back going, well, now we got to eat now too, Coach. Like, we got to drop them off and go eat. And you're like, okay, don't need to compound this any worse than it really is. So yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. You always have to plan for something to go wrong. If you have a trip that nothing goes wrong, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
For sure.
You know what would have made that story even more awesome? Because you said you were going up a hill and there's a lot of force around.
Like a raptor or something coming out.
I was going to say Bigfoot.
Yeah, I was going to say I could see your head. Your mind was working
Yeah.
on that one, John. Yeah, it was coming out.
There have been plenty of Bigfoot sightings around California, man. That would have been awesome if you saw one.
Bigfoot can't afford to live in Napa.
No,
That's
definitely
the thing.
not
It's
up there.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot might just be like consistently drunk. If that's the case, that's a
fair
lot
point.
of winery up
Lot-
there. too.
a lot of
A lot
grind.
of winery. He wouldn't be able to find his way to the bus.
No question.
Oh, man. Well, again, folks, joining us here on the show today, I've got Prescott boys basketball coach Travis Stedman. I've got Embry-Riddle assistant athletic director Eric Fundalevich. In fact, Eric, another thing I wanted to bring up, because we talked about the Prescott High School Hall of Fame. Embry-Riddle actually had a Hall of Fame going for a while. Unfortunately, I think that's gone dormant of late. Any plans by you and athletic director Phil Hess to hopefully resurrect that? Because you look at some of the athletes that have come through Embry-Riddle like the last 20 years, and you got a slew who would definitely be worthy of a Hall of Fame recognition.
Absolutely. I would probably say, especially in the last 10 to 11 years that I've been here, and I don't want to discredit anybody before because we've had a lot of kids that have put up some really impressive numbers. But, I mean, I could probably think of 25, 30 kids right now that would be, that could be right in that list. But, yeah, that's something that we've discussed. I think COVID really hit up because Jamie really started getting that going. And then when COVID hit and she stepped away, then it was a time of change and who's our athletic director, and then Phil was the interim for a year, and now that he's kind of been in for like truly a full year and we've got our full staff, I know that's something that he's been discussing too, just trying to get that thing fired up and trying to honor the kids and the teams and coaches that deserve to be on that wall, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, I imagine along with all that, you've had some new sports programs to get up and running. And also, well, just the transition going from the CalPAC to the GSAC. And while, here on our sports recaps, it's like, Embry-Riddle, now they're members of the GSAC. I mean, I'm sure it took a lot of work behind the scenes that I probably don't know about, and certainly our listeners don't know about, to get everything set where you're official members of the GSAC.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. And just timing, scheduling, meetings, all of the above, and then you get to just you're dealing with the website. You're talking about the branding, and that's even stuff that's still in the phases of making swaps because technically it is the GSAC, but it's a new GSAC, so they've even rebranded that entire conference itself. So it's not like they could just send us, oh hey, we've had these banners for 20 years and you're in our conference now. Now it's a brand new conference, so they completely rebranded the whole thing, and so now it's just a matter of the timing and getting everything right and being able to roll everything out and make it all, what it needs to be. On top of the fact that now we're a Nike team instead of Under Armour, so now you're changing over all of that stuff. So a lot of changes going on over there at our place, and we're excited and pumped up about it. And just, it's going to be a process, just making sure that it's a smooth and easy and hopefully quick transition.
All right. Hopefully once all that is taken care of, then we can get back to Embry-Riddle Hall of Fame.
I agree. Like I said, there are a lot over there that are deserving of it.
All right. Oh, folks, we're coming up to the end of the show, and again, I feel like we could go on for another hour
I think
here.
we could too.
Probably.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our time is limited here, but again, I want to thank Coach Travis Stedman, Prescott Boys Basketball, Eric Fundalevich, Assistant Athletic Director of the Embry-Riddle of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and maybe we've been trying to get you on here for a while, and finally schedules worked out, but definitely got to bring you guys back together again and go over, I think the 10 or 11 other topics and questions that I had on my list that I couldn't get to today.
We're always willing, John. I mean, honestly, it's a blast. We have been talking about this for a while, so you say the word, and we're all in for it.
No question. And it's funny, I don't know how impressed the audience is going to be with the conversation, but I promise you that this is the real interactions that the three of us have
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
all the time.
Daily.
Like,
Daily,
This
yes.
is about the closest behind the scenes that you're going to get.
Oh
So,
yeah, oh yeah. It's like anyone can testify to that. Whenever I'm covering Prescott boys basketball, I'm over at Embry-Riddle covering game, doing play-by-play for game, and of course I have to put up with all the comments going on behind me when I say something during play-by-play. Like it's like, oh, Doro the Middle Queen. It's like he likes Dora.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Well, and honestly, this will be a good year. I mean, truly, have us out whenever you want. I think between Riddle and honestly all the way across the board, Riddle and Prescott sports and Yavapai, all the above. I think this is going to be a really special year for our area, for the community, for athletics and sports. I know I'm excited for Travis and what the boys basketball team is going to do, and obviously football. It sounds like they're off to a good start over there
yeah.
too. So it's going to be an exciting year for our area in sports. So whenever you want us to jump on and just yap it up, we're more than happy to do
Great.
it.
we're both pretty good at it,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And speaking of football, next week we're on the road. Prescott versus Thunderbird at Thunderbird. 6:45 for the pregame, 7 o'clock for kickoff. Hey, folks, thanks again for joining us here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup, and we'll see you again next week.